Welcome everyone to 7 Minutes or Less, talking about the shows you love and want to get into. Today we will be talking about Walking Dead Season 8. Alright, so a few things I want to get out of the way. I reviewed Seasons 1 through 7, which Season 7, to me, just full disclosure here, I have felt was the worst season we had by far. I'm sure there are plenty who disagree, many who do agree, and others who feel that other seasons are the worst. But do look into my reviews for Walking Dead on my channel. I'll provide links down below for you. You all know now, or have known, my distaste for the 7th season. I felt it was focused too much on other stories. The main one we were dying to see was barely prominent up until maybe the second half. We were waiting for an uprising and the beginning of a war that didn't come until the very end. Negan was a saving grace as much as he was a thorn in people's side, and that was also considering the fact that we as audience members are really divisive, and characters of course hated Negan. A lot of characters were separated from one another while more characters were introduced, making Season 7 just one really rough season to watch. Season 8 is yet again another rough season. Granted, it is better than Season 7. By this point in the 8th season, I believe that any one of you that's tuning into this review will probably end up coming across spoilers, because I just have this feeling that you don't want to hear about a general review of an 8th season. Or maybe you have. So what I'm going to do here is basically go through some minor spoilers in the beginning half of this review for Season 8. What I talk about probably won't ruin your experience of Walking Dead, at least I hope not, but when we tackle the mid-season finale, this is where we're going to get into heavy spoilers. And don't worry, I'll give you a fair warning so you can switch off and catch up. So let's dive into this. Season 8 starts off with a bang. The war we had been waiting for. We get a monologue here and there, getting everyone ready. Rick and his community, dare I say no longer survivors, even though they always will be, have a plan to rise up against the hold Negan has over them. And boy, do they let him have it. Rick unleashes an attack, and for the first 3 episodes, we get a lot of action. King Ezekiel in episode 4 gets a definite wake-up call, and the episode that features him deconstructs him as an image, a person, and what he believes and loves. And as the war thins out throughout the rest of the episodes, plans and tactics are still being made and debated over, leading to some characters to separate from one another. Somewhere between 6, 7, and 8, the war dies down but isn't over, as we keep to the characters and what they think and feel and believe where things should go next. It's not a terrible first half, though the dialogue's a bit stiff. Character motivations are a little cumbersome to a point of stalling the story for one character or another. There are almost too many characters to care about. One too many episodes focused on one side of the story, though it's not nearly as bad as Season 7. And also Morales shows up as a surprise cameo appearance where he just shows up, says stuff, talks to Rick, goes, "Hi Rick," and things happen and then he's gone. But the biggest game changer is in episode 8, which I have no choice but to spoil. So this would be your cue to change to another video. Come back when you've caught up and hear the rest of my thoughts. By episode 8, we are given the fate of Karl as we find out he was bitten. Episode 9 is solely focused on spending time with Karl and his departure, along with Morgan, who gets a parallel story on a different end of the spectrum. But by the end, Karl ends up taking his own life. This propels into the second half of the season. The second half of Walking Dead is fine. With the seasons of Walking Dead, they've kind of progressively gotten worse, but this show has its moments of getting better. But things don't feel as exciting anymore, even though I'm a hardcore Walking Dead lover. This used to be the show that people would talk about, watch, and get excited over. This used to be the show that when something happened, it meant something. In some ways, it still does, but the stories feel dull and lifeless. And things just feel ugly and downright depressing, and none of the characters, no matter how optimistic, can't lighten it up. The show just isn't what it used to be. We lost our trust in the show in some cases since Season 6 when they decided to tease us on Glenn's death and then brutally murder him in Season 7. The episodes drag on to fill the runtime and the episode count, when really things should have been running a lot faster and a lot more intensely. Speaking of intense, more spoilers coming your way. We gotta talk about the finale where Morgan Jones departs into Fear the Walking Dead, where I haven't seen much of that show unfortunately, and Rick ends up slicing Negan's throat but ends up saving his life there afterwards. Rick and Michonne make sure Negan's life isn't wasted away as they make sure he lives out the rest of his days doing what's right and seeing what he did was wrong. I guess with each character their problems before aren't the same now. So what we thought was wrong with them before isn't addressed nor compelling anymore. The new characters introduced don't have back histories that we just need to know. They kill off characters who either needed to leave or who they thought would be best. The war came just a season too late. Dialogue made it seem like they were either talking down to us or between them as characters. Hell, even the walkers aren't even intimidating anymore. The face-offs between Rick and Negan clock in about 3 times, and with each time it was almost as if they were pulling their punches. I feel the face-off between Rick and Negan should have had a bit more weight and a much more intense fight. Limit the appearance of Negan a bit so each time we saw him we would have this really strong emotional reaction till the inevitable fight between these two characters came to be. But alas, we got more than what we asked for. In this case, it just wasn't as excellent as we wanted it to be. It was just okay. In the end, I feel this show may find its footing yet. Where it was something to talk about in its first few seasons, it can maybe come back to that. But until then, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in believing Walking Dead is trying to become something good once again. For that, I'm gonna give Walking Dead Season 8 a C+. It's better than the 7th, for sure, but it's just too long for its own good. Character motivations are hard to track, too many characters to where some just disappear from episodes on end until they're useful again, and the war thins out and reaches to an okay, satisfying conclusion. But that's enough of my opinion. What did you guys think? Did you love this season? Like it? Maybe hate it? Either way, I'd love to know. Comment below and let's talk. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, I do TV show reviews in 7 minutes or less, movie reviews talking about the trailer to films of new releases, and universe reviews, where both TV shows and movies come together and make a universe. If you like what you've seen and heard here and want to see more, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll get you more videos in the future.